Good day everyone. Today on the bench I'm going to tie you up one of my best kept secrets, Brent'S Enticer. Here's a fly that I've had for many years, and we've caught so many different fish on this style of fly. What I wanted to create was a fly with lots of life, lots of movement, a fly that would really breathe in the water, and this is it. It's such a simple, easy fly to tie. I've got the flash hidden inside. The rabbit hackle here is tied so it will breathe. It is actually, I'll show you when I tie the fly the method I use to do this. The reason you probably haven't seen this fly is it's an interesting little story. I had John Randolph from Fly Fisherman doing some stories. We fished for a week together. He come and fished on our private lakes in the Cypress Hills, and then we also went up and did the Siksika Nation there on the Bow River, teepee camp and that. We had a great week. We had some of other guides and that join us up there, and it was quite an experience. But long story short, John and I were having our lunch or sandwiches on the boat one day, and I had this fly. I just tied it. I had this idea, and I fished a little bit. Had it on his line, and had his rod just hanging over the side of the boat. Long story short, he had 5 nice big rainbows in the boat before we had our lunch ate. He just had the rod hanging over the side, not moving it at all. This fly breathes in the water like no other I've seen. And I'm going to show you some of the materials we use. It's a very simple fly. That's what I like about it. Here's some colorations that we've used, different sizes. I started tying these mostly in the dull colors for trout. And this fly here, for example, is black fly. I sent some different colorations for steelhead and up with a friend of mine, a very good classic salmon fly tyer, Ron Anderson. And he said this little black fly right here was a real winner too. And he was catching fish behind everybody else. There were 6 guys in his group, and he was catching fish in behind them after they all went through the pools. So this fly is just lit them up for us for years. It's we had it on the website for a while. I know we don't sell a lot because they don't look like much, and that's okay too. We fish them a lot. I like how easy they are to tie. So we're going to get the materials here. I get a little excited about it, but anyway, the long story short, why I didn't publish it, John Randolph did buy the publication rights for this fly. I was under contract. I couldn't put it in the open, couldn't publicize it anywhere until they had it published in Fly Fisherman. So that's been almost 20 years. So I guess, I don't know if I've ever seen it published, because I think it's, the trouble is it's too simple. You know, people overlook these flies sometimes because of their simplicity. We're always looking for the new wave of buggy legs and eyeballs and all the other things we can throw in there, but this fly here, that'll fool a lot of trout right there. Anyway, let's go through the materials I'm going to use for the hook. I like using a 1530. This is number 6. I use 8s a lot, or even right down to 2s. Depends on the species I'm fishing and the colors I want to use, but that's it. We're going to put a bead on the front. A lot of times I'm using colored beads. Today I'm just going to use a copper bead. And for the body, I'm going to use some ice dub. I always use ice dub for the bodies. Good, nice coloration, and all the different colors. Just, you can, sky's the limit when it comes to the colorations. When it comes to the rabbit, there's nothing breathes better in the water than rabbit. And I'm always using cross-cut rabbit strips for this fly, because I just like the way the materials come off the skin. You get it all nice even tips, really easy to use. And also you're going to want some extra fine or some small wire, some ultra soft that you can do a dubbing brush with that, and also some dubbing wax. Okay, let's get a hook in the vise, show you how easy this one is to do. And that was a secret for me, as I know we've had groups up salmon fishing and steelhead fishing and that, where we come back to camp and we got 6 or 8 people, friends or whatever with us, and I'll sit down, maybe tie 50 or 100 of these one night while they're having a few cocktails. So start with, I'm going to put my bead on the front. That's important, we have that. Go to the crosscut rabbit here. I'm going to cut off a generous chunk here for my tail. Make sure get her tail tied on the rear here. Always go in behind. That'll breathe quite nicely. Any butts in there, you can take that off. Throw a half hitch on there. And I'm going to dub this ice dub pretty loose, because if it comes off the side or it's really buggy, like I'm really putting a lot on here right now, but I'm not going to the front of the hook. I'm stopping back. There's no dubbing probably right to here. I'm leaving a good space. But you see my dubbing, I'll let it even go over into the tail a little bit. And that's a nice little glint that they can see when that fly is breathing. They can see that flash underneath. I think a lot of times, in my opinion, is there's too much flash on some of these flies, and I think that we want to see natural colors, but I put the flash underneath, and I've done that on quite a few other patterns that I'll get to as well. So here I'm going to bring in my dubbing table for my Norvise. Now a lot of you folks are tying on regular vices, and that's fine. And I've tied on them, still do. Just go into this. I want to tie on some of this wire here at the front, and I want to make sure it's really tied in good. And can't see it here. There we go. I'm sitting back quite a ways from the fly here. Make sure that wire's snug. Put a half hitch in there. Go to my thread post with that. Bring in a dubbing table. And what I'm going to do is capture my materials in on that dubbing table. And in between the thread and the wire. Make a dubbing brush. There's a lot of flies, big flies. You pike guys and that know what these dubbing brushes are all about. Makes some huge flies with dubbing brushes. What I like about it is I can put quite a bit of hair on there without wrapping all this hide onto the hook. That takes so much space, you don't get enough hair on it. And then I'm going to, and you can mix your colors in there too. Sometimes you get a really cool blend. I'll do that too. Put 2 or 3 colors on there. It really gives you a neat, nice effect. Then I've got my wire here. I'm just going to put a little bit of dubbing wax on there, and that'll hold that hair in place when I lift it off the table. And I just spin it tight. Now, what I was about to say there, you guys with the standard vices and gals with standard vices, you can get a dubbing block. It's a piece of wood and it'll spin like this, and you can create these dubbing brushes with those blocks too, right like that, and you'll be able to do all kinds of different flies. There's lots of flies calling for dubbing brushes now in different sizes. It's really cool. But look at how much hair I put on that dubbing brush, and it comes off perpendicular, like it wants to breathe. So I'm just coming in back, and it's just going to roll into itself. See, I'm putting lots of hair on here, and I'm just going to jam that in behind that bead. That actually gets in there really tight, and I pull this in there really tight. If I can get it in behind the bead, there it is. See, it fell in behind the bead. Perfect. That thread is right in behind the bead, and I can't. That is as tight. And I'll drop a little head cement on that if you like too. But the secret of this bug for sure is the breathability. And you get that in the water. I really encourage you folks to either buy a few of these online and try it. Prove me wrong, but I've yet to see this fish fail to come and eat this fly. And we fished it in rivers, in lakes, streams. I fished it in salt water, different colors, and it is a this takes more fish than any fly that I've ever used, bar none, and not because I invented it, but it just works so well. And that the dubbing brush collar is really the secret. So I really do hope you give these a try. It's Brent's Enticer, first time it's ever been seen. We've had them for sale for a while, but maybe you'll give it a try. It's an innocent looking fly that you're going to be very, very pleasantly surprised. So thanks for watching, and see you back soon.
To watch all our latest Sport Fishing on the Fly episodes and to order Sport Fishing on the Fly merchandise, head to www.sfotf.ca. And if you would like to book an adventure like this one shown, head to ontheflyadventures.ca and book yourself the trip of a lifetime.